You never truly know the impact you're having on people. That is a statement I believe my university experience truly embodied. And I transformed that statement to live a double life while at OU. And in said double life, I grew my passion for sharing others' stories. Because during the day, I showed up as the over-involved engineering student, a little bit of a try-hard out in all these orgs, but I enjoyed my time building myself up. I felt honestly connected to campus, but you know what? Shout out to caffeine, made it all possible. And at night, I felt even more of a connection. But why? Everyone was on their phones, winding down after a long day. I felt more connected to campus, covertly running the largest platform where students confess not only their crushes, but their deepest vulnerabilities. So, in other words, no one knew I had the whole university's tea, but in said tea, I noticed 3 common patterns, which shocked me. 3 common patterns among all OU students, and I cannot wait to share with you what they were. But for more context, which, hey, that's only fair, hi, I'm OU Love Letters. I secretly ran an account where I gave all of OU one Google form. Confess your crush. And the responses went wild. The account started in 2020 when people needed it most, when people were building an online community for ourselves. Crazy to me. And now today, that same platform has amassed close to 5,000 followers. But more on our online presence, it's no surprise that we live in a digitally distracted world where most of us tend to run on autopilot. And listen, we care about others, of course we do. But our routines make us adapted, efficient, yet preoccupied. We're always focused in that day-to-day. Research suggests we naturally attune less to our relationships, often missing those exact emotional cues to support each other even when we care. Why? Because our attention spans are limited and easily overloaded in 2026. So this is what I came here to speak with you today. Disrupting our routines with unexpected kindness is one of the most impactful decisions we can make. And it is far more remembered because kindness moves in waves great enough to make someone's day, even week. So listen, why don't we just go out there and start being more kind to each other? Come on, let's go. We can do this together. Okay, so who's all heard a speech just like the one I gave you? It sounds motivational. It sounds so great in the moment, beautifully packaged words. But the last that I would ever want is for someone to leave a TED conference thinking, I've heard this before, but it sounded, pretty nice hearing it again. But usually it hits more if we have a personal story tied to it, if it really resonates with us through a personal experience. So what if I told you that I learned the simplest way to leave an impact on someone through observing 20,000 OU student voices? Well, that sounds more disruptive. 20,000 student confessions that I received in a database that only I could access. Like I said, T. So throughout all my time running this account, receiving these submissions, posting them online, not just a few hundred, but over 6,000. If there's one thing I learned, it's this. You can be deeply embedded in a community without people knowing exactly what you're going through or the weight that you're carrying. I could never know what someone in the audience is going through today, if they have a celebration or a tragedy. You can never know that from me. Maybe I had the worst morning in the world, but I'm so charismatic on stage, maybe. I don't know. But when you give all of OU one simple Google form to say whatever they wanted anonymously, you don't get just romantic confessions. You create a safe space for students. That's what I unknowingly realized. I got topics on heartbreak, fear, loneliness, longing, and of course, that cute crush and lecture Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But why was in all that list that I gave you, why was one love letter related? It became less about romantic confessions and more about how we felt when we had no one else to go to. It was also about simple notes to people. Simple notes like, to the girl in Sarkis who always wears yellow, I hope your day gets better. Because that's what OU Love Letters did. It disrupted silence. It allowed for a safe vulnerability, which is something that people naturally gravitate towards. It gave people permission to speak without fear. But let me ask you this, why did you need permission to do so? That's what attracted audiences. What if the next love letter is written about me? Well, it's probable, but more on probability are the three common patterns that I noticed among what every student said that reveal the emotional fabric of OU and why OU love letters became a safe space for so many people. So, number one, 3.3% of all confessions, all 20,000 I received, mentioned fear of rejection, ruining friendships, or of just being too vulnerable. And we think that people stay silent about this because they don't care. But thousands of different student submissions told me otherwise. People care more than you think, and I'll say that again. People care more than you think, and that's what paralyzes them. They're not telling you. They'll surely say it anonymously. So around April 10th of 2021, around 10:19 p.m., this letter came in the mail. I feel like I'm a horrible person. I can't stop ghosting people because I'm afraid to get close to anyone. I always just end up hurting them, but also myself. Number two, 8.6% of all submissions mentioned regret, loneliness, and the desire to be seen. And what this shows us is that vulnerability for the students going through these problems, vulnerability gave them a second chance to speak and a second chance to be seen. And that's major for them. So around January 18th, 2025, around 3:18 in the morning, this was a 3 a.m. letter, this came in. I wish people would take the time to get to know me. It hurts having people who I thought were my friends turn their back on me, and seeing people I know walk the other way when they see me. I feel like I'm constantly being judged in a room. Every time I walk into a room by people who don't know me. I'm pretty lonely. Number three, shocked me. That doesn't say much. It was simple. Okay, well, 12.4% of submissions were simple. Your smile, your laugh, the way you carry yourself, the way you stopped in the middle of your day to have a conversation with somebody, the way that somebody is admiring you from afar. And that was the most common type of letter that I received. Students are all present in the same community. We all attend this university together. But why am I noticing thousands of all these micro interactions left unspoken? Why don't we just tell each other more often? Around November 16th of 2021, this letter came in. I don't know if you'll see this and know it's for you, but I'm so glad I got to know you this semester. You're gorgeous, and you have an adorable laugh, but the best thing about you by far is how easy you are to talk to, how you make every conversation feel like no work at all. Thanks for giving that gift to me. Okay. Did you notice what all three of those letters had in common? 33% of all confessions arrived between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. Vulnerability has a time signature. A time signature when defenses are down and students are saying what they actually mean. Let me be honest with you. I sent a letter back of resources. Every few weeks I receive suicide notes. I'm not even going to lie to you. And it's hard when I don't know who this student is. I don't know what they're going through. I don't know if they're still here or still here at OU. And I don't know if they're still okay. I tell them to reach out. It's hard because they never do. And I don't know if they receive those resources. Around that night, let's say 2:13 a.m. in the morning on campus, research suggests that mood regulation and cognitive capacity decrease, especially at a time when OU Love Letters gives a student somewhere to put those 2 a.m. thoughts rather than carrying them alone. There's two reasons why this happens. The first is a disruption in our circadian rhythm, and second is sleep loss. Now let's close our eyes for a second. Think of somebody who you know and you care about, but you haven't told in a while. And imagine how a single sentence from you can change the trajectory of their week. You never know the impact you're having on people, because people don't lack feelings. They lack the safe spaces to express themselves. Now, let me pause this speech real quick. We're going to go a little off the rug here. I know, I stepped off crazy. I hope everybody's doing okay. It's Friday, we finally made it. Thanks for coming here. I'm glad you're all here. But just wanted to check in and make sure everyone's doing well. I'm glad we're all here. Now back to my speech. Let's look at what one psychiatrist found. In the early 1970s, Jerome Motto ran one of the first American randomized trials, showing that consistent communication, especially in the form of letters, can measurably save a life. 840 patients hospitalized for psychiatric care, refusing treatment. These were all US veterans. The first group received letters up to 5 years. Let's take a look at this one. It's around 6 lines. This isn't some dissertation that's life-saving. This isn't a long paragraph saying how much I care about you. No, there's no instructions. There's no expectations. It's just a letter acknowledging that somebody still cared. That was an exact letter sent to a patient. Within the first 2 years of all those patients leaving the hospital, the group receiving the letters were 49% less likely to commit suicide. Half. And reaching out costs almost nothing. But in the 70s, imagine how many steps it took to get the right address, go to the post office, pen, paper, the envelope to put it all together, and then you stamp it off. But look what's on our phones now. Reaching out costs nothing, and the suicide rates was much lower in the 70s. So I'll leave you with this. OU Love Letters was just a vessel. What made it possible was obviously the people who sent in the submissions. But that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that you are the messenger. There doesn't need to be a stand-in safe space for students to say what they actually mean to each other, had we just reached out to our friends more often. So I ask of you one thing. Write a love letter. No, write a simple note to somebody. Show somebody that you care. Disrupt their day in the best way possible. How do you do that? By telling them something they never expected to hear from you. Let's say you send that message. Let's say a thumbs up, you get a like, or you're even left unread. Hopefully not blocked. But let's say that message is out there. You don't get much from it. You don't need to see the effects of your impact for them to be real. But you got that message out there. Because doing so, and if we choose to do this, which we must choose to do this, that leaves space for a moment that can save a life. And I'll say that again. Reaching out to someone can create space. Just leaving that door open can save a life. But regardless, you never know the impact you're having on people. So let's choose to make it a great one. Thank you.